All right, welcome back, guys. Hope everyone's doing well. Some pretty big news coming from the Mint here today. It's official. They have minted the final Lincoln cent. What do I mean by that? It's real simple. They minted the last made for circulation coin. These are the coins that we spend out there in daily commerce. They actually put out a press release. There are other news outlets that went and did the story as well. Kind of a big deal because the speculation up to this point was that they were going to be producing Lincoln cents for 2026, and that would be the final year. Well, as it turns out, it's half right. Um, they're not going to be producing any more circulating coinage bearing the 2026 date. That's it. Here's what I feel like is going to happen. All right, just kind of like skipping around here before we read the press release here. So they've minted their last coin. I'm assuming it's 2025. Okay. So we're in November. Normally, they don't begin any sort of production of the next year's coinage, whatever it may be. Usually, it's Lincoln cents, Jefferson nickels, and silver eagles is what they normally produce starting in December for the next following year. We're not going to see that in Lincoln cents. It's all done. And kind of crazy. Kind of crazy sitting here. Just kind of like I had no inclination whatsoever that this was it. Right now, November 12th, 2025 is the day of reckoning for the Lincoln cent. So a lot of you probably received this email, although there are other news outlets that have put the story out sooner, upwards of 24 hours ago. The United States Mint hosts her historic ceremonial strike for final production of the circulating 1 cent coin. So this is taking place, of course, in Philadelphia at the Mint facility there. Hosted a ceremonial strike event today at its Philadelphia facility where the United States Treasurer Brandon Beach struck the final circulating 1 cent penny. The event marks the official end of the penny's 232-year production run as a circulating coin. Today, the Mint celebrates 232 years of penny manufacturing, said Christy McNally, who is the Mint director. While general production concludes today, the penny's legacy lives on. As its usage and commerce continues to evolve, its significance in America's story will endure. The penny, first authorized by the Coinage Act of 1792, man, that's a long time ago, has long played a role in daily American life. From the earliest days of the U.S. economy to the present, however, economic and production factors combined with evolving consumer behavior have made its continued production unsustainable over the past decade, and this is staggering. I want you guys to realize this statistic. The cost of producing each penny has risen, and this is over 10 years, 1.42 cents to 3.69 cents per penny. Over 10 years. Now, this was an ongoing issue before, before 10 years ago. Even at 1.42 cents, the kind of like the writing was on the wall. They were testing out alternative metals, things like that. And here we are, over 2 cents more in cost to produce the penny has pretty much made it just one of those things that was a foregone conclusion that it had its end. And that end is today. So the last little mark in this or in this story here, this press release, and this is something you guys need to know about, okay? Because this is going to have a pretty big effect on 2026 production in all, and what you can expect next year. While circulating production has ceased, the penny remains legal tender. There are an estimated 300 billion pennies in circulation, far exceeding the amount needed for commerce. Retailers and other businesses can continue to price goods and services in 1 cent increments. The Mint will continue to produce numismatic versions of the penny in limited quantities for historical and collector purposes. One of the rumors, it's a bit of information I had received from a friend, had gone on to mention that they were bringing back the bronze composition for some sort of specialized strike of the penny for 2026. So that way they can kind of celebrate a little bit of the 250th anniversary of our country. That's kind of important. I think after 2026, I think they're just going to do away with Lincoln cents altogether. Now, the only exception is they might just be producing proof strikes. If that were the case, then the San Francisco Mint would get the credit of producing that, but they still have to furnish some sort of planchets to produce any proof coins or something to that effect. Be prepared to live in a world when we order a mint set direct from the mint and it does not have a penny anymore. Next year it'll have one. The mint set is actually going to be pretty damn special next year. But the mint set specifically will not have a penny after next year. And at this point, I'm really just speculating that there will be a penny in the proof set and silver proof set respectively. It might happen or it might not. I don't know. I think if you're going to stop something, they might as well just stop producing it altogether. That's my humble opinion in that matter. Okay, so with this news, and as you can tell, it's dated today, so this is fresh off the press here. You guys are probably wondering, okay, we're all done here with this. What is the final numbers of production of 2025 Lincoln cents? Great question. Because people are under the assumption that you know there's still a ton of it, but why are the rolls and boxes selling for so much damn money on eBay and various other places? I've even gone on to say, and I haven't even brought this up. This is the first time you guys are hearing it, because I was at one of the Northern California coin shows over the weekend, and I overheard people talking with dealers about how much 2025 penny boxes are going for on the secondary market. And a few of the dealers have gone to say, we are willing to pay you way above face for your 2025 penny boxes. If you want, bring them in to our shop. One of those dealers is actually a pretty big dealer in Northern California, Americana Coin, who has a website and all that stuff. They're one of the dealers that's willing to pay well above face. Now, what's well above face, I don't know. I didn't get that finer details in there. But even this is even having an effect on what dealers are doing as well. They're not sitting idly by. They are willing to buy full sealed bank boxes of 2025 Lincoln cents, either Philadelphia or Denver. Now, I'm assuming that Denver had already stopped its production too, in tandem with Philadelphia's cease of production today, and so I'm sure that's happening as we speak. That both are winding down today. What they're going to do with the presses, they're probably just going to retain them. They might sell off a few, because Lincoln cent production, let's be honest, was the biggest driver of workforce hours, manpower hours at the Mint. Assuming so, because they produce more Lincoln cents than they ever have of any other coin combined. All right. With that being said, what's the final numbers of mintage? Now, this is as of, I think, the end of October. So October 31st. Is what these numbers are. There could be some adjustment here. it seems like there's still quite a few 2025s. Denver, 645,200,000. Philadelphia, 655,000. 655,200,000. Sorry, with a cumulative total of just over 1.3 billion. I've heard a lot of people say, "Well, that's a lot of coins." You know, there's going to be absolutely no shortage of this, blah blah blah, this and that. It's only until you began to go back to the last couple years that it reveals a much more broader story than it actually is. Because normally the conversation would just end here, and you're like, yeah, there's plenty. We're going to be doing okay. But keep in mind these numbers as I go to the next screen, where we're going to bring up last year's numbers, and it kind of reveals some pretty startling kind of differences here. 1.5 billion. We're just kind of going to round up or round down. For the Denver Mint, 1.7 billion for Philadelphia. Cumulative total 3.2 billion plus. Holy crap. That's about 2 billion more collectively across both mints just for 2024. Okay, you want to see some craziness here? 2023. You're going to have to look at this column here all the way on the left. The Denver Mint produced 2.26 billion. Lincoln cents. The Philadelphia Mint produced 2.262 billion with a total cumulative of over 4.5 billion. I want to go back one more year. I mean, I'm sitting there shaking my head like crazy. 2022. All right. Is 2025 beginning to look like a pissant right now? Denver producing 3.2 billion. Philadelphia 3.1. Total cumulative number 6.3 billion. And just for shits and giggles, we're going to go to 2021. And it's even higher yet. Denver 3.9, almost 4 billion coins produced at the Denver Mint in 2021. Philadelphia produced 3.9 billion with a total number at just a shade over 7.9 billion. I'm doing it again. 2020. There you go. Our first number over 4 billion is Denver. Okay. So this is kind of like where we need to stay. From 2020 onward, the production for this year, for 2025, and then now you guys see the bigger, broader picture. Final year of the Lincoln Cent. We're all thinking it was 2026. Nope. 2025, 600 million compared to 4 billion a couple years prior. There you go. That's the kind of information we needed to see to help justify this next screen. How much, since the news, how much has things been going here? Rolls and boxes and all that stuff. I put in 2025 Lincoln Cent roll. Okay, 2025 product getting extremely expensive. I was gonna do a video here sometime this week, by the way. The rise in the fall and then the rise again of the U.S. Mint. It's going to be quite interesting because everything that the U.S. Mint has put out over the last 30 days have sold out. Kind of crazy. The limited edition Silver Proof set, the Navy and Marines Privy Silver Eagle, and a bunch of other things have all sold out. It's quite phenomenal, actually. But 2025 rolls and boxes. Rolls are kind of all over the place. The average is still in that $10 to $20 range, and there's such a big gap there because people are either selling them too cheap or they're selling it just right. Right here, you're looking at $12 for one roll of 2025. My goodness. 2025D, these things have been sitting in that kind of $10 range from what I'm seeing. Philadelphia, definitely, for whatever reason, because Denver has a much lower mintage compared to Philadelphia. Not much lower, a little bit lower, which makes it the lower minted of the two. The Philadelphia rolls are commanding more money. Here's one right here that went for $19 shipped. And we always have to integrate shipping costs too, because that's the cost of getting you that item to you. and therefore that's integrated into the actual cost of the item that you buy. 2025D roll, $19.25. Here's a P Mint. Someone bought it. See, this is a buy it now. So, Stamp Keeper probably doesn't, they don't know the full market potential. And plus, this one looks like it's open, obviously, to show us. But I'm sure you're getting just a sealed bankroll. $11 there. Single coins going for $1 or $2. Kind of crazy. Here's a P Mint roll for $11. Buy it now. $23 for one of each of the P and D rolls. Here's one singular roll of 2025 Phillies. $30. D-Mint rolls. This one right here, about $11. $9.75. But these ones are in plastic tubes. They're not really per se original bank wrapped, which is going to diminish the value there on that, since they took the coins out of the paper wrapper and put it in something else. Here's the full box. This is a 50-50 split, I think. Or not really. There's 45 P-Mint rolls and 5 D-Mint rolls in one box. So they're kind of Frankensteined it a little bit. $300 for that. So, yeah, pretty wild. A lot of the listings for the single rolls are between $10 and $20. We're just gonna call it like an average of $15, right down the middle, for a single roll. Okay. It's always better to buy in lots, I guess. And by the way, we have a show on Whatnot later on today. We will have various different dates of BU rolls and Lincoln Cents available. And I think I'm gonna start to cut off this faucet a little bit. We have a full brand new bank box of 2012's incredibly rare date that I think we'll end up doing something with tonight. And then I also I just received in today or yesterday, 3 sealed boxes of 2025 D Lincoln Cent rolls. Okay, and then my friend Bill gifted me another one because we're going to do a sale on some of his coins here next week. So I think I'm going to offer up just 25 rolls of 2025 D. Now that I see these numbers, and I will undercut the shit out of whatever people are selling these for on eBay currently. We might pull the old rabbit out of the hat and do like $7 or $8 rolls with cheap shipping on the 2025 Ds, and then the 2012s will keep it right around there too as well. And they're Philadelphia's, the 2012s. 2025, 50 rolls, $25 face, $500, $518 to be exact. D boxes are currently going for between $225 to $250, by the way, on average. And then there are some that are just really cheap here. Like this one's insta sold. The moment that news came out of the final coin being produced today. 3 rolls of 2025 Ps for $25. Not cheap, and that's zero feedback seller right there. 2025 Philly box. These things have been jumping up. $400 there. They were right around $300 to $325 for a full box of P-Mints about a week ago. And they're not that anymore. There's a seller on here that has in quantity 2025D Lincoln Cent boxes. I hope to God that he does have them, and that because he sold over 410 boxes, which comes out to like $90,000. Is how much he's made off of the 2025D Lincoln Cent boxes, and they're still out there, ladies and gentlemen. But it is going to take some hunting on your guys' part to make it happen. But these have been scaling. They've been moving, and this is see, we're still November 12th. It's insane right now. All of this is quite insane. D-Mint roll, $13.37. $14.37 for a Philly roll. Here's 5 rolls of 2025 Ds, $50, $10 a piece. Yeah, kind of wild. And this is where it's at. The question is, and this is what's on everybody's mind, right? Because we want to be able to predict the future of these. Let's just call it a year from now. These things are going to be expensive. They're going to be probably anywhere from 25 to 100% higher in price to be able to get your hands on a 2025 box and any other date before that. And the further back you go in time, as far as like BU rolls, once we get into wheat cent roll, BU coins, that's going to get really expensive really fast. We're going to probably see a floor of $50 per roll. Even some of the more common dates like 58D, 57D are going to be quite attainable. But here we are, folks. This is the new reality here with these. And, I'm going to say it about as honest as I possibly can here with this. And no joke. This is going to take some work. But everybody is just trying to come up with like the classic cash cow kind of item that you could turn around and flip for easy money. This is it. Right here. Now, I've already heard it, ladies and gentlemen. I went to my bank. They said they can't order me anymore. They can only give me 5 rolls at a time. Blah, blah, blah. Take the damn 5 rolls. Go to the next bank. There should be any reason why. If you live in a much larger kind of metro area, okay, this is where it can be beneficial for a lot of you that's hunting these out. Obviously, pay close attention to the bigger banks because they're going to have what you're looking for. Your Chase, your Bank of America, Wells Fargo's of the world, all of those are going to be able to furnish something to you. But you're going to have to go to bank to bank to bank to bank and find these. And anytime that someone offers you 5 rolls, they're pretty much handing you $40 to $50 right then and there for all of $2.50 face value. It seems kind of ridiculous, and it is. It's very, very strange, very ridiculous to comprehend. But this is what they call arbitrage, ladies and gentlemen. And right now, it's alive and well. And a lot of people are doing it, myself included. It couldn't have come. Unfortunately, I have to say this because, it took the end of the Lincoln Cent to help make people realize that this holiday season, when the price of consumer goods is just way out of control, the price of collectibles is way out of control, and we're not all making more money as a result of tariffs and inflation and all of these X factors, then here we are. Then we have to resort to doing things like this. The good news is, if you're a coin person and you love this hobby, then you are certainly going to love going out to your banks. And this is going to be a lesson in developing relationships with your banking professionals, the tellers, the branch managers. Just really, and I don't mean this literally, but figuratively, get in bed with your clients so that way you can get some of these. All right? Not literally. Please do not sleep with the tellers. Whatever if that's your thing and you're a playboy or a playgirl, then you do you, boo. But at the end of the day, these things are the hottest thing going on right now, and it's just going to be exacerbated by this news of the final Lincoln Cent being produced. Mark it in your calendars. November 12th, 2025 is going to live a day in infamy as being the end of the Lincoln Cent production. It's kind of a big deal, considering that I'm an educator and a teacher. When people ask me, I want to get into coins, what's the first thing that maybe I should learn, or what's the first series I should collect into? It's always going to be familiarizing yourself with the designs of the current coins that you're currently using right now. Now, if you're more into digital payment and all that and you don't use physical money, then, you could kind of skip this. But I always tell folks familiarize with what you can control in front of you. And that's kind of learning about your coins that are in existence. And I always tell folks if you want affordability and scale, Lincoln Cents is the thing to collect into right now. And it's going to be harder to do that when, banks are already starting to phase out Lincoln Cents, or they're really tightening, the amount of rolls that end up leaving. Now, let's be honest. There's still going to be tons of inventory in this country and all across the globe of Lincoln Cents because over 300 billion were made. Okay, sure. But when you look at the rate of usage and attrition over the course of a 5 or 10 year period, especially with the current composition, the copper plated zinc compositions, yeah, these things are going to wither away eventually. They're not longed for everlasting durability, I guess. They're just not that. I heard someone, a professional, tell me that I guess the average lifespan of a penny is like 15 to 20 years, which is not a long time. So if we looked out in our crystal ball 15, 20 years, there's going to be less coins. That 300 billion that had been made and produced over the X amount of years, might as well cut that in half. And then that's what we have remaining. And then you never know. The banks might start just withholding these and then sending them back to the Federal Reserve for destruction and whatever. That could be happening as well, but we don't know that. Again, that's all speculative. But today, pretty somber news. Final day. Final last cent produced. And I'm willing to bet that final coin is going to end up at the Smithsonian. Along with the dice. I'm sure that's what's going to happen. Although it would be pretty neat if they took like the last 100,000 coins and ended up selling them in the Mint website with a certificate of authenticity. This is one of the last 100,000 Lincoln Cents, blah, blah, blah. I think that'd be a pretty neat collectible. And then release that before the end of the year. Because once we get into 2026, our pages and our brain are going to be turning into something else. And we're going to be focused on the 250th anniversary. So, but there you go. That is the news. Pretty crazy. So, yeah, if you guys are still pounding the pavement looking for these things, keep going. Keep going until it's a definitive no from your bank. Because it'll get there. It'll get to a point where they just don't want to give them out anymore because they can't get them due to lack of supply. But that's going to go ahead and do it, friends. I will be on Whatnot here in about an hour. Come join us. We got a pretty nice show for a Wednesday. And yeah, keep on collecting. Whatever happens, keep on collecting. Don't ever stop.